You know what podcast this is?
69.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a special one.
It's my favorite number.
Is it?
But I do 69 a little different. I don't do it like this. I do it like this.
I don't even know how that works. Is it on? Is it recording? Looks like it's recording.
Is it on? I got a lot of keys.
You know what we should do? We should do a whole podcast where we don't record it.
I think we've probably done a few
And then
of those.
we'll just release it.
I think we've done some of those. 69.
We'll be like, here,
Podcast 69.
Podcast 69.
Tell them what happened today. What did we do today from your perspective? What happened? We spent a lot of fucking time trying to get that off the truck.
We spent a lot of time messing with a piece of weight equipment that probably
could have killed us.
And almost killed me.
It was a good warm-up for the next ones.
I feel like we might want to get some better equipment. Now, you know what? Now that we know what we need to do, we got it. It's no problem.
Do they have a forklift there?
At that place where we were just at?
They had a forklift. I know Mike had a forklift.
I didn't see one in there.
There's got to be a forklift there in that big fucking warehouse like that. Because we can just rent a forklift.
Yeah.
That has an extendable boom, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like a four-wheel balloon tire forklift. That would be a lot easier to unload that shit. We could do it all in one day. We can get all those 5 pieces in one day. Because those all have...
Are they all on pallets?
I don't think any of them are on pallets. I mean, we can get them... We can probably get them on a pallet. Because each one of those has 200 to 300 pounds of fucking weight on each stack. And you got to figure with those together, they're going to be upwards of 1,000 pounds a piece, probably.
We're going to need a bigger truck.
Like, I don't know what that weighed, but, like, when I went to fucking pick the corner up, like, I couldn't even budge.
Yeah, that fucking thing is heavy as fuck.
Like, I am fucking sore as fuck. So we went and got it's a Smith machine, but it doesn't just move up and down, it moves horizontal also. And,
it's very tall and it's very top heavy.
It's big piece of equipment. So they get it right to the end of the dock, right? They've got it on dollies, and I don't know how the fuck they lifted it. Like, I went over there and tried to pick... There must be a trick, because the kid and Mike's dad, the old man, fucking just like... When we looked at it, it was not on wheels. And when we got back in, they had that motherfucker up on wheel. Like, they probably had 5 dudes run out and, like, pick that bitch up that we didn't see. So we get up there, and they're like, oh, man, let's not mess with this trailer down here. While we had a bunch of hands that could put it on the trailer, they're like, let's unhook the trailer and just put it on the back of the truck. So
which was really easy. It was easy.
Which was really easy. But when we got here, now we have 1,000-pound piece of equipment up at head height.
Yeah.
Like, it took us fucking... Man, I mean, once we figured it out, like, we have a forklift thing that you push around that's battery powered. That works really, really well. Like, we put all the furniture upstairs with it and shit.
Yeah, it's a good one.
We unloaded 2,200 pounds of dumbbells off the back of the truck because it was on a pallet. No problem. But this was just big and awkward. So we ended up strapping double sets of 2x6s on. Once we had that, fucking it wasn't a big deal. But
they were bowed, man. When you pulled it...
God, that would have been so loud if
it
popped.
He got it off when you got it above the truck. As soon as you pulled out, those front feet went and actually touched the truck. So I mean, it could have been touch or go. It was touch or go. We were probably at the.
Maybe we need with a skid steer, we could totally fucking do that.
Yeah, you can get a skid steer with forks on it. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That'll take care of. It's having the right tool.
Yeah,
you can do all kinds of shit. It's just having the right tool cuts down 90% of the time of it.
Or enough people. I fall in the Marine Corps. I almost
called Tad because I knew Tad would have somebody.
The more people you have, the more shit you can get done.
Tyler would have had that motherfucker.
Oh, Tyler would have took that motherfucker apart, put it back together. It would have been crooked. But somehow...
It would never be the same again.
But somehow you would have worked a muscle that nobody else has ever worked.
All right, so we're podcast episode 69. It's 5/18, March 26th. We have something we've never done before. We have Raid and Red Handle, Red Thread tool bags. They're nice.
I don't know why you tell these guys this shit.
Because
you ain't going to get none.
They should join me.
You are not going to get none because this motherfucking podcast will go out tomorrow.
We'll have we got a new shirt out, 762 by 39.
Yeah, that's a cool shirt.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I think it's I think that was the right way to go with the crink on there, because on Amanda's back, it fits. It fits perfect. I think if
the UMP will fit.
I think if we would have went with a full size, Amanda would have had a flash hider up here in the front of her, on the front of her shirt.
We MP5. We went standard MP5.
MP5, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. It's classy.
UMP 40. I had them make them bigger, so it kind of like it's big, you know.
Yeah. Stay classy.
We just got cock force patches. Those are fucking real.
Those are real cool. Those are real cool.
Both versions. The one's
gonna be on the
front, one's gonna be on the back.
I feel like we need to send some to the president.
Well, he orders from us. I mean, I'm sure he knows. We just did Typhon Royal Blue webbing zippered mesh pockets. Those are fucking really nice. You know, those will be gone in 5 minutes.
Yeah, fucking mesh pockets.
So that's it.
No, Kips, you can't buy all the Typhon Royal Blue.
I'd say we need to do a safe setup. The problem is there's so many different size safes. So most of the safes, right? Do your safes have like Velcro on them, or they got stupid pockets on the doors?
None of my safes have anything, nothing that I have not created.
So all of mine have like preformed
those pockets, yeah,
useless pockets. Like I have fucking pocket knives on all. I have knives on all of them and shit. But I think if it was Velcro, it'd be a lot more usable.
100% more usable.
So do we have them? Do we make, like, do we just offer different size? I mean, because there's so many fucking different sizes. How do we do that?
That's the problem. Is the door sizes.
And how do we ship? That. So the pockets go on there. We just need some kind of like maybe panels or tiles that they can just order and fucking, because all of them have wood in them, right? All the doors pretty much.
Wood? No, they don't have any wood in them. Wood? What is this? The 1800s, John? These aren't strong boxes.
All mine have.
They got real metal inside of them.
Right, but the inside of the door with all that bullshit, all those pockets. Metal. There's wood in there.
Where'd you get yours at? Walmart? Shit, there's not supposed to be any wood in there. It's got to be temperature safe.
So I thought, Tractor Supply, right, had these, what is it, Canon safe? Is that what they have? Canons? Yeah. The cheapies. But I mean, I'm just putting fucking knives and fucking hard drives and, shit.
Yeah,
like
John's just putting, he's just putting $500,000 worth of watches in there. Just nothing, some hard drives. And
so they got this deal like Black Friday, right? They half off. So the safes are like $600, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, how many do you have? They're like, we got 8 of them. I'm like, I'll take them all. They're like, you can't have them all. I'm like, why the fuck can't? What do you mean I can't have them all? How many can I have? They're like, we'll sell you 5. So I'm like, okay, I'll take 5. So we go to pick them up, right, with Hicks's big trailer. We couldn't fit them on Hicks's big. They wouldn't fit. So we had to fucking make multiple trips.
That's the other funny thing about Tennessee when we're talking about like cars with no signs on them. It's weird. Also in Tennessee, people don't want to sell you all of it. So like, if I say, hey man, I've got these trash bags, I'm selling them for $10 a piece, and you come in there and you go, I want all of them. They'll go, well, I can't sell you all of them. Well, wait a minute. Why can't you sell all of them?
What, do you fucking hate money?
Yeah, why can't you sell all of them?
There's so many times that...
Because I might have to sell...
And we go back and they still have the shit.
Yeah.
And then it's on sale.
Because I might have to sell some trash bags to somebody else. But the $10 is going to look exactly the same. So if you sell them all now, you'll have money in your pocket versus this pretend money that you think you're going to get because somebody's going to buy these trash bags.
It's like on the way to Walmart, there's a fireworks stand. And it's a cool ass fireworks stand, especially coming from California, right? So they sell mulch and gravel and pumpkins and gourds, seasonal shit, right? So she probably gets upwards of 1,000 different pumpkins, probably 1,000 pumpkins. Probably. So we go in there. We're having an SOE party after Halloween. 2 weeks after Halloween. So we hooked the trailer up, and they've advertised on Craigslist or Facebook Market or something, free pumpkins. So we hooked the trailer up and go in, and we're like, we're here for the free pumpkins. Oh, well, those aren't free. I'm like, okay, how much are they? And she goes, well, they're $25. I go, that's what you were selling them for 2 weeks ago. She goes, yeah, well, these are our carving pumpkins. I go, well, we're having a party. She goes, are you going to shoot them? Like, she was very upset that she thought we were going to launch these out of a trebuchet or something. And we were not.
Well, no.
I literally wanted a pumpkin for every fence post at the fucking shop, and we were gonna, you know, draw with Sharpie, draw fucking faces on them, and let the kids carve them and put fucking tea lights in them. We had a big, I mean, we had fucking hay bales on fire and giant spiders and a huge graveyard. Like, it was fucking pretty cool. She would not sell us these fucking pumpkins. I'm like, come on, like, they're literally rotting. Like, that one right there is rotting. It's already like falling apart. I go, we will buy them. What do you want for them? And she wanted to charge me full price for these fucking pumpkins that she was literally going to throw away in a few days. Fucking just another weird Tennessee thing, man.
Tennessee, yeah, they don't want to sell you all of it.
And I'm like, all right, motherfucker, I'll open a goddamn, like, we will have a fucking pumpkin stand next year. I will bring pumpkins in, and I'll set up right fucking next to you, and we will sell them for fucking 30% less than you're selling them for. It was just like the dude that I needed something done with a computer when I first moved here, right? Nowadays, when there's a computer problem, I literally throw that motherfucker away and go get a new computer. But I needed something in a hurry, and I'm like, hey, I need you to, I don't even know what it was. So he's like, okay, it'll be 2 weeks. I go, dude, I'm out of business without this computer. Like, I will pay you whatever you want. Whatever the ticket is, I'll pay you double. I'll hand you $200 right now. You start this right now. I just need this. Well, I can't just bump you up. Everybody comes in offering to bribe me to bump me up. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. And to this day, I've never been back and done business with that dude. I'm like, I will bring a motherfucker in here from California and rent a building right next to fucking your shop, and we will fucking open a computer store that's doing, like, real computer shit, like modern fucking computer shit.
If everybody is trying to bribe you,
yeah, why are you?
How about hire somebody else to help you?
Why do you live in a mobile home?
Fucking work harder. Shit. If everybody's trying to bribe you,
like, I'm easy money. Like, you do me right, I don't even bat an eye. Like, I would have fucking paid him more than he made all fucking week trying to put some Windows fucking 6 on some shit. It was, dude, it was fucking nuts. Like, I went and bought another computer that fucking night.
That's the other thing too, that they don't, because John does this all the time where he'll be like, I want all of them. And they'll throw a number out. Like, it'll be whatever. It'll be like, the pumpkins. The pumpkins was a pretty good one because she's like, ooh, those are my carving pumpkins. You can't have my carving pumpkins. And John's like, whatever, I want them all. Well, how much? And
she literally wouldn't sell them all to us.
She would not fucking sell the pumpkin. And I'm like, you could have said $1,000. You are going to literally in 2 days throw all these fucking pumpkins away. You might as well just be lighting money on fire over here because you're not. They were pumpkins. She wasn't putting them in the trailer and holding them for next year to bring them out and sell it to get that $25. It was just we
didn't care. We didn't care what the number was. We legitimately just needed
the pumpkins. That's legitimately Tennessee though. They're just like that's the kind of quirks. And don't get me wrong. You don't have to change. If you want to do that crazy shit, then you go ahead and do that crazy shit. I just find it weird that people in Tennessee. It seems like just certain people don't like money. Like John will put here's a $100 bill. Let me have those 5 pumpkins. No, I can't sell you all 5 because
when like Walmart, a quarter mile up the road was selling them for fucking $1 a piece. You know,
and John fucks. The best part about John is he fucks up. If you have any type of store that has something that John wants, your inventory system will be totally screwed for the next year because it'll be like
if Walmart carries something we want, we buy it. They stop carrying it. It's the most bizarre shit in the world.
John will buy all of it. It'll be like, hey, we have to buy all of them because they will not restock this. I'm like those, that don't make sense either.
No, it doesn't. Like the chili lime fucking almonds in the fucking pull top cans. God, those things were good. They stopped carrying them. Like for a year, you couldn't get them. Like I'm like that's why I'm like fuck Walmart. I don't even go buy shit at Walmart anymore. I just order off Amazon. It shows up a day later. And like shit, China's getting so fucking. I can order shit from Alibaba. Like I had some shit shipped from fucking Alibaba. I had some shit shipped on Saturday. It's here right now. Fucking insane.
Crazy.
Fucking wild. Yep, Skully apparently doing double in a construction zone in Kentucky is jailable. plead to the misdemeanor, paid $1,500 in fines and 10 weekends in jail.
What?
What happens if you're
Holy
not from
shit.
there? Do you just drive back every weekend? How's that work? How
Take it in the mail.
How about I just fucking make a contribution to your fucking campaign fund or something?
I mean, I get what they're doing there with the construction site because
But
you'd actually
most of the time, most of it's like there's not a fucking construction worker there.
Yeah, but you'd be amazed at how many fucking dudes in orange vests across this country get fucking run over by idiot drivers.
There's a reason why you hate gum smacking. It's called misophonia. I also have an immediate response to people gulping or chewing loudly. Fucking mutants. I don't care about the chewing, and I don't even care if I'm out in public and you're gum chewing, because I'm not gonna have a conversation with you. To me, you literally are a fucking a mentally retarded person that should be locked in a fucking asylum. Like, if it was up to me, we would lobotomize you. Like, literally, I should just be able to run up with a big nail and just jam it in your fucking eye socket if you're smacking gum. But it's like when people want to do business with me and they're chewing gum, or they come into my booth. Like, when you're chewing gum, your money's no good here. You might as well be trying to buy some pumpkins from some old lady that don't want to sell her pumpkins. Like, you come in here with a fucking suitcase full of $1 million.
Don't sugarcoat it, John. Let's hear that gum chewing.
We're just gonna kill you and take your $1 million, and we're gonna kill you for chewing gum. Like, fucking just whatever. I couldn't find any NASA firearms, but the Russians made a space pistol that seen service from 1982 to 2007. It's called the TP-82, and it's a triple barrel pistol. The top two barrels are 28 gauge shotgun, and below that is a 5.45 by 39 barrel. And to top it off, the pistol came with a detachable buttstock that doubles as a machete.
Look up NASA 82 millimeter shoulder fired. Just look up 82 millimeter shoulder fired weapon from NASA. It was a prototype that they had made for them.
What does it do?
It just fires an 82 millimeter mortar. It fires a mortar round from the
it's twice as big as a 40 mic.
But all mortar rounds are fired from the ground. Okay, so when we fire a mortar, we're firing it from the ground. Has a base plate, all that. NASA, for whatever reason, wanted a mortar that, and I'm surprised the military didn't pick this up
because they like a law.
No, it's a little bit different, but it allowed them to fire this thing. Now,
do you still lob it?
Yeah, it beat the shit. And when they show these people firing it, it's like, man, it's almost like you're firing a fucking regular mortar in your hand.
It's for Godzilla.
Maybe, or it could be for the aliens that are on the dark side of the moon.
Why? So why wouldn't they use like an electric net or something?
I don't know. What was that? What was that other thing? He said something else. Yeah, but so you got to look that up. And then interesting thing about the Russians and guns. All cosmonauts since the beginning of the Russian space race, all were issued a gun. And you would think, well, fucking dude's in a capsule, he's spinning around the Earth.
It's a mutiny.
He's spinning around the Earth, and then he come. Why the fuck they give him all a gun? They gave him a gun, a machete, and something else. But it's because
you might land in the jungle.
No, it's because while
space worms.
we were bringing our guys back into the world in the Pacific Ocean. So the Navy would go out and pick these guys up in the Pacific Ocean. Their splashdown was actually on land in Kazakhstan, and they were worried that before the ground crews could get to them, that they could get eaten by a bear. So they were actually carrying guns for when they opened the capsule door to make sure there wasn't a fucking grizzly bear out there trying to eat the capsule. Yeah,
the Yeti. Surround yourself with people that have done what you want to do, have gone where you want to go, drive what you want to drive, live where you want to live, and where you want to be. Hang out with successful people, and you will be successful. We are the sum of our 5 closest friends. Network. The more people you know, the better. Find people of all trades, creeds, walks of life. Can't tell you how many times I've met someone and 3 years later something comes up and I say, hey, I know a guy. That's why I always ask people when they come in here, I'm like, what do you do for work? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of weird. Like, they're actually kind of standoffish. I'm like, how do you make your money? Where are you from? What are you doing in town? What do you do for business? I ask that not being nosy, just because I might be able to you might have something where we can have an exchange of funds. Like we might be able to, trade services or something. So yeah, and you should, fucking have other people do jobs that you can't do, which fucking is kind of hard here. Like we're kind of to the point where like, fuck it, we'll just do it ourselves. Yeah, 100%, man. Who said tactical desires to that? Facts. The Space Force should be handed to the Navy. We kill way more shit than the U.S. Air Force, bar none.
I'm not going to say that, man. They got some really cool planes.
Hey, Cody. What is this mystery history thing? What are we dealing with? What is that? Fucking, I want to know what's up.
I mean, the Air Force kills a lot of stuff. B-52 is the Buff is a fucking badass airplane. It drops lots of fucking ordnance on target. The fucking the A-10 fucking blows up all kinds of shit. But the Navy, when you think about the Navy is already in a spaceship. It's just not in space. You know what I'm saying? With the Navy's already worked out, how are we going to feed people in space? How are we going to they've already worked all that shit out. It makes no sense to send the Air Force up there because all the Air Force is going to do is go, where do we put the runway? They don't, the Air Force shouldn't be in space. They're good at flying. But
where's the officer's quarters?
But here's the problem. There's no fucking way we're going to put some sort of military installation on the moon and not instantly go, yeah, the only people who are going to stay there are the Marines. Send the Marines up there. Who takes the Marines places? The Navy. So it's going to be Navy cruisers that are going to take us to the moon, and you're going to drop Marines off there, and they're going to be like, man, this is worse than 29 Palms. This is some bullshit. That's the way it's going to, because the Air Force ain't going to stay there. The only way the Air Force will have a base on the moon is if we somehow create that fucking elevator that goes all the way up there so they can come home every night. They're not fucking spending the night on the moon.
I'll bet you there's Mexicans there already.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, the Chinese are there, so that's almost like Mexicans.
With not as good of food. I love some Mexicans. Fact, Space Force should be handed to the Navy. Couldn't find the 81mm shoulder-fired gun.
I think it's 82mm.
Think I saw an 84mm recoilless gun, almost like an RPG.
If it was all silver and there was a bunch of fucking people firing it that had no idea of what they were firing, then that was it.
Speaking of true crime documentaries, check out Staircase, The Staircase. It's a roller coaster. Of course, this guy knocked off his wife to maybe, not too well, maybe. There is some evidence that was left out of the trial for a possible alternative. If you watch it, Google that afterwards. It's a trip. Cody again says, okay, I've been educated, one, why the Marines still use UH-1s, and it's for maneuverability and is a better weapons platform than an H-60 platform, and it's actually faster than the H-60 and the Cobra with the 4-blade upgrade. All three of them share the T-700 propulsion system. The H-60 Seahawk is incredibly more beefy and overbuilt like a naval aircraft. To endure shipboard use, take a look at the FA-18 landing gear versus the F-15 landing gear. The F-22, you'll see the difference. Hey Skully, those A-10s still kicking ass overseas. And he gives a video link. John and Skully, August 11 through 13th of 2019 in Duluth, Minnesota, there will be a tall ship celebration. The world's largest rubber duck will be here also.
The world's largest rubber duck?
Come on up.
That'll be interesting.
Festival Duluth. Skully has a perfect normal voice. His allows himself to be concerned with something his allowed himself to be concerned with something that's non-existent. Just goes to show you, even someone so squared away can still have something fucked up about him.
No, it's just true. People don't like to hear their voices recorded.
I do.
It's because you're weird.
I like to listen.
You're weird about everything.
I'm going to start recording. I'm going to carry around one of those cassette decks with a handle, you push. And to record, you got to push the record and the play button together. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And it's going to run on. It's going to run on 6D batteries.
I saw a creepy. And that wasn't really creepy. The movie was. It wasn't bad. It was all right. But it was. This dude thought he was going to die. So the doctor's like, you're dying. That's it. So he decides he's going to move back into the neighborhood he grew up in, but he can't buy his house. He has to buy the house across the street. So he moves into that house. And, things happen, but there's this single woman and I think she was probably about 6 years old child living next door. But he would be having conversation in his backyard. So he'd have a conversation in his backyard, and then the person would leave and stop, and then he'd hear the conversation playing back.
Oh, because the kid was recording it?
Yeah, because the kid had one of those recorders, was putting the microphone through and recording everything he said, and then she would play it back.
Crazy, or did he know what was going on?
He was like, what the fuck, and would go and look and see her, and a couple of times he like took it from her and would like give it back to the mom, and the mom's like, well, she doesn't talk. And so he kind of forgets about it, but every time in the movie, when you forget about it, there'll be a conversation. He'll have a conversation with somebody. Even when he's like whispering, he'll have a conversation with somebody. And then like 10 minutes later, you'll hear it playing in the background. It's just funny.
I want a big pole.
Big pole?
With like 3 big fucking speakers on it.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
You want like a MASH system where you could be
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's easy.
I want him to be able to hear it like at Court Square.
That's not as easy.
Why?
Because Court Square is pretty far.
Do we just get more speakers?
The
I found 2 speakers, but I don't know how to test if they work.
The LRAD would probably... Man, I don't even think... What is it, just Court Square from here?
As the crow flies?
Mile?
A couple miles, maybe? If that?
Maybe the LRAD, but those things are expensive.
I found a... But it doesn't... She's like... The guy that's selling it says he can fix it. I'm like, well, tell him to fix it and I'll buy it then.
Yeah, fix it.
Fix that motherfucker up. I was in Iraq. Skully, perfectly normal voice. I was in Iraq 2008 in a little town called Walid.
Walid?
Right on the Syrian border.
So was I.
There was a Palestinian refugee camp there. It was fucking weird. Third world living conditions, yet there was extension cords powering satellite TVs in half of these tents. We did foot patrols at night through the city and the camp with NVGs on. And if you didn't know, it's kind of weird walking around with NVGs because your depth perception is screwed up. So for NVGs, I actually prefer fucking old 7 Bravos for actually out just walking around. And I've got some 5s. I've got some Anvis 5s. I've got a bunch of 14s and shit. But I actually prefer the fucking 7 Bravos for just walking around. Or driving. Well, this one night, we're walking around the camp, and my fire team leader falls right into the giant fucking trench that they used as a bathroom.
Oh yeah, shit. That's fun. That's a good time.
I'm talking knee fucking deep, right into time. What is literally shit creek. He threw his boots and camis right in the trash when we got back that night, and I'm pretty sure... scarred for life. I think about this every time I hear Palestinian refugees.
Yeah, that's fucking
man,
awesome.
I didn't expand that one.
We had a group of individuals. It was not just one. It was a group of individuals that ended up having to slide into a shit trench in a firefight. And man, when they came back, that was fucking hideous because it's just, you know the deal. All that part of the world is just open trenches. But it's funny that you were talking about satellite TVs and all these fucking extension cords. I have a really good friend who's he was in Special Forces before Rambo. That's how old this dude is. Like he was in Special Forces pre-Green Beret. But he was talking about some of the fucking missions that they would go on in Afghanistan where they're like, it's these secret, we got a fucking CIA and fucking drive through all over these hills and shit and fucking insert and move to this fucking village. It's all dirt huts and we're going to go see the chief. We go into the chief. He's living in this fucking, he's living in the fucking Afghani dirt hut. And,
he's got a refrigerator.
Leo's full on, they're all, the SF guys are all full on jocked up like it's fucking World War III. And they're there to deliver this guy a fucking PlayStation and a fucking color TV. It's like, what the fuck did we just drive all the way out here for so this asshole could have a goddamn PlayStation and color? No power in the hut, but we're still bringing, because that's what he wanted. I want a PlayStation and a fucking TV. You get me that, and I will tell you where the cash is.
Jeff don't think that bullshit's weird, because you know what he'd want? One ice cold Diet Pepsi. Like if Jeff was in the middle of nowhere and he knew where the fucking cash was, one ice cold Diet Pepsi.
I'll tell you the truth about the last time I was over there. See, it's not the first. This isn't my first rodeo. I have never been anywhere in the world where Diet Pepsi has not materialized. The last time I was over there, we were living in a fob that had generator power. That's it. So we were living in fucking, the dirt Hesco rooms. I had my own complete Hesco, which people were kind of upset about, but when you're as old and crusty as I was, nobody's going to tell. Like, the CO came and lived with me for like a couple of days, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to go move into the COC with the rest of the guys. But I had a fucking ice machine.
He still has it. It makes 6 ice cubes at a time.
I had an ice machine.
He still uses it now.
And I was fucking making ice and filling up coolers.
I've got 20-pound bags of fucking ice, and this motherfucker makes ice cubes one at a time.
And drinking cold Diet Pepsi in the middle of fucking nowhere. That was the funniest thing.
He takes the dehumidifier and captures the water and puts it in his ice maker and makes ice out of the air.
When the CO first got there, he was like, he got there and he came in and he's like, you got a pretty good setup here, Stas. And I'm like, yeah, of course I do, sir. I've been doing this for a long time. And I go, would you like a cold drink? And he goes, what? You got cold drinks? I go, of course I have cold drinks. And I gave him a cold drink, and he's like, I don't even want to know how you did that.
Did you have an M16A1?
I wish I could have got an M16A1, but I had an M79 grenade launcher.
Did you have an M1 Garand?
No, I had an
What did
M16.
you have for a gun?
I had an M4 carbine.
An actual M4 carbine, not like an M16A2.
No. It was an M4 carbine. Well, it's the new M4 carbine.
An H-bar or like an actual M4 carbine?
M4 carbine. And I had an M79 grenade launcher. You should be happy about that.
Did you have 20 round mags?
I did have 20 round mags.
Did you have any 30s?
Of course.
Oh. I don't know. Were you wearing Levi's?
I was wearing Levi's. I was shooting the M79 in PT shorts, though.
Skully and John, do you recall growing up being taught on how to shoot guns in school? I was not taught in school.
No, California. Not real guns. We had competition pellet rifles, and they taught competition pellet rifles, and then you would go and shoot
at school.
Well, most of the time when we would compete, if it was a competition, it would be at a National Guard armory. But it was
the high school.
Yeah, it was through the high school. But it was the one cock. They were. I mean, I think those pellet rifles are still pretty expensive today.
So my mom worked at General Dynamics.
But no real guns.
And at General Dynamics, they had an air rifle club, and she would take me over there, and we'd go. They had a gym area. They had a workout club. They had some different teams and shit. They had Taekwondo. That's where I took Taekwondo. But they had the Anschutz rifles with the crazy fucking, lock in and shit. Yeah. And to cock it, it was a side cocking lever that you pulled back. But these old crusty dudes, they were shooting fucking aspirin. It was all indoors. It was, not, I don't know, fucking 50 feet, maybe 100 feet. I don't know. It wasn't far away, but they were shooting aspirin every time they pulled the trigger. Pew, pew, and it just fucking disintegrated. It was pretty cool. How about a Skully patch with "Not Americans, we're from California"?
No, thank you.
Or "Oh shit, it's a commie." Or "A truckload of pussy." Skully on top of a tank with a logo of Diet Pepsi. Some ideas from Podcast 50. So I was thinking a tank, but with a NASCAR sponsorship, like a fucking Pepsi sponsor logo or something.
Patch is not a good idea. People that have patches don't last long. That's 100% true. Heather don't work here no more. Sebastian don't work here anymore.
Oh, I got you.
Pablo don't work here anymore. There's only one person. There's only one person that works here that has had a patch done, and I think the only reason why that person still works here is because you didn't do a reprint. You did one run of them. And you just one run of those patches. Amanda, the shipping ninja.
Oh,
The
shit.
shipping ninja
Oh,
pass. You
shit.
did one run of them. You never did them again. I think
Oh,
that's
I
the only
got you.
reason why she still works here.
There's an unlimited 3% cashback credit card from Alliant Visa signature card for the first year and 2.5 thereafter on any purchase with an annual fee of $59. Hope it helps. 4. What was Chef's journey to working at the SOE compound? Keep making top-notch shit. So Chef was on my live feeds all the time, and I kept talking about needing a chef. And he's like, I'm a chef. And I'm like, because usually when somebody's on live feed, like, yeah, whatever, fuck off. And he came out, Chef fucking after like 6 months, came out here for a week, and he was cooking, and like he was feeling us out, and we weren't sure what the fuck he was doing. He was making good food, but I'm like, if I'm going to hire a chef, we got to be able to profit off of this somehow. So how many people can you feed? He's like, because he had told us, he's like, I want to work someplace slower, and it was really stressful, working at Wolfgang Puck and these other restaurants. He opened 4 restaurants in Vegas for Wolfgang Puck. So he worked at multiple Wolfgang Puck locations and stuff like that. And so we had him cooking, 12. I'm like, okay, we're going to feed everybody, cook 20 meals. So he knocked it out of the park. I'm like, okay, could we do a catered lunch for TAC Response and have them prepay? We'll have an app made where they order and we just deliver to the range. And so I'm like, look, you said it was really stressful. So before we get into this, are you sure you want to do this? He goes, yeah. We were doing 900 lunches.
Yeah, 900 lunches.
So our fucking minuscule,
our little minuscule
65 pieces. So that's how Chef ended up here. And then after a little while, Gabby started working here. So it's good. The downfall to most of the dudes that come here is the female. So for sure with Gabby being here and them being together all day and working in the same place, like it works well. Like she helps him in the kitchen when he needs help with that. And then she's like always doing shit. Like all the camera work you've seen in the last probably, 6 months, unless it's something I shot. She's shooting that and she's uploading all the podcasts and she's doing the kitchen videos. And like we just shot a bunch of stuff. I shot drone footage, but she shot all the stuff today, picking up the equipment, and she'll put that video together. So they take care of the animals on the weekend. She does, laundry here for the kitchen. We have a laundry room, washer, dryer here. It works real well. It works good. I think they're happy with it.
And he really can cook, so
he
that
fucking
helps.
really can cook. Holy shit.
He can really cook.
Seriously, I got my St. Patty's Day free pouch today. Outstanding. What's a guy got to do to get one in Skully approved Marpat to match all my other Marpat?
They don't exist.
Magnificences. Yeah, you can't get any of them pouches. The only way to get those pouches is during the sale.
Yeah. I don't think we've made them in
Marpat. No,
Marpat.
You're gonna have to probably wait till Marine Corps birthday next year.
Maybe, yeah. Be on the lookout.
Joker, we got a new sale about to happen for April Fools, so check that out. Duck will be here also. Come on up. Oh, that's the other one. We already did that one. Okay, now on to the new one. That was the
new ones.
Gabby said the podcast yesterday was an hour and 55 minutes long.
Woo!
Driving as we speak, listening to the podcast as I do every day. Currently, I'm listening to podcast 67, and you guys are talking about reloading. Can we start a segment of the podcast where Skully brings in a show and tell 5 firearms each day or week or each week and gives a brief synopsis of each and maybe why he chooses to purchase said firearm or a funny story attached? I'm going to go with no.
I mean, the problem with that is, the problem with what you're asking for is it's a podcast in itself. I could talk for fucking hours about, why the fucking Glock 19 is the worst pistol that's ever been made, or, I could talk for hours about that shit. But that's a whole different venue. So, I mean,
Ask
doable.
Specific questions.
It's doable in a fucking in another thing, but it's not really part of what we're doing here. This is more about answering the questions that you have about current topic events.
My biggest reason we have for helping the Israelis is to keep Muslims from gaining too much power. Muslims do mean to rule all, and once they have the upper hand, Christians and infidels will be killed by the thousands.
Just look at what's going on with the two of them that have been elected to the Senate. They're spending more time pushing not an American agenda. That's the issue. You know, I have no problem. I have no problem what your religion is. I don't care. I honestly, even though I throw some stuff out there, I don't even care if you're Muslim. As long as your agenda is American. If you have an American agenda, then I'm good with it. The problem is they do not have an American agenda. Their agenda is a Muslim agenda, and that is not good for this country.
If you're coming here and cutting the clit off your fucking woman or any other bullshit that goes with it, that's a fucking problem. You want to come here and live by Sharia law and have laws that are fucking completely different than what we do in the United States? That's a fucking problem. And there's all kinds of little fucking towns and compounds, and like in San Diego alone, just fucking walled off communities where there's all kinds of crazy shit like that going on. But you want to do that, but then you want to come out into our society and do the same thing. Number one, why the fuck why did we even let you here? Why did we give you property here and allow that to fucking happen? You want to come here, you take all your shit off, you wear the same shit we do, you eat the same shit we do, you live like we fucking live, and you go get a motherfucking job.
Yeah, if you want to be if you want to come to America, you need to assimilate as an American. Goes for you too, all my non-English speaking Spanish friends.
Chappie, hell yeah. What did he say? I put them to sleep. I don't remember that part. I'm guessing he's talking about the movie.
When they talk about killing people, they're putting them to sleep.
John, me and you think much alike. As strange as it is for a man my age, I love some antiques, especially odd items like clawfoot furniture, shrunken heads, disarticulated human skulls, old medical equipment, something baby dolls, etc. I'm lucky I inherited a lot of cool items from my grandmother, who owned an antique shop. I just like them things. But what is your opinion on antiques as a short to medium term investment? I don't know, man. Like, is it something, if the economy got bad, is it something people still need? I don't know about it as an investment. I buy the shit because I like it. I buy shit that I like. And luckily other people like the shit I like. Like, we're about to find out if I can take this stuff and sell it. Now, as far as a profit, I don't know that it's actually going to profit, but I've gotten better items that replace similar items. So the main thing is just to sell them and hopefully break even with them. I don't know. We're about to find out. I think the profit might necessarily not come from... Well, we travel a lot, so I find I kind of know what these items should cost now. We have friends that are dealers and go to estate auctions and shit. So I'm buying low. Hopefully I can sell high. But also I have a mix of things that we can buy wholesale and plug in to make money on this. So we're about to find out how that's going to go. Speaking of food banks, when my first daughter was born, we were very tight for money. So we decided to swallow our pride and apply for food stamps. We then found out that if we applied for food stamps, that my paycheck would be hit for the same amount they would give us. Yeah, and usually the father usually can't reside in the house either, at least in California. When I told them that it wouldn't make sense for me to apply if I still was paying for the food, that we wouldn't receive any benefit, they told me we made a mistake at the beginning by giving my daughter my last name. Yep, that's what California. Mm-hmm. We should have gamed the system by not naming myself as the father, which is just wrong in more ways than I can count. On the other hand, the WWII program that was in place was great, and they actually required you to be working and prove you were getting a paycheck before they would help you. Awesome podcast, as usual. Keep it up, guys.
Yeah, the WWII program is actually a pretty good program.
For, nursing mothers and
mm-hmm.
young children and shit. Totally agreed. Fuck me. Thank God you can't write for shit, John. I was starting to think I was the only one. Another reason the Jews didn't fight, Hitler disarmed all civilians. Yes, over a period of years. He also dosed all the water supplies with Fluoride, which slowed them down, took away will to fight, will to breed, will to really do much of anything.
I mean, the biggest reason is they believed that they needed to suffer on this earth, and that is the philosophy that has kind of changed now for most of them. But that's the biggest reason. Even if they would have guns, most of them would have got in those train cars.
Oh, this is totally right here. The brown shirts were the SA, not the SS. The SA were the guys fighting with the communists at the time. In, I believe, the Night of Long Knives, the SS, under orders from Hitler, arrested the top of the SA, Rowan, because he feared he had too much power. And he actually went around to all the officers, and they killed them in place. They simultaneously raided them. They didn't necessarily round them up. They actually fucking executed them, is what I thought happened. In Holland, apparently they came first for the Freemasons and then the Jewish people. If I remember correctly, the Judse Rad, Jewish council run by Jews, helped organize the deportation of Jewish people to Camp Amersfoort, and then on to Dachau, Auschwitz, etc.
Yeah, they organized committees. They had community leaders, and they organized those community leaders, and those community leaders created the manifests and got the people on the trains and got them moving out. I mean, I was not there, so I can't speak to the implications of any of that. But here's the thing: if you were in a life or death situation, you have no idea what you are capable of doing and what kind of humanity you really have until it's you underneath the gun or you underneath the knife. If you know, by the time they got to Denmark and Holland, most of the Jews in the community knew that people were leaving and never being seen again. When you get to that point and you're still getting on the train, man, that's a fucking leap of faith. That is a leap of faith.
The New Zealand shooter was an environmental fascist. He was an extreme environmentalist who believed the world was overpopulated. Okay. Yes, so why did he pick them to? Why did he kill Muslims? I mean, I'm not saying that's not true. I'm saying, okay. Yes, the Zonda Commanda. I have probably spelt that wrong. As you say, Jews were used to keep control of Jews. And the killing of Jews in World War II didn't happen overnight. Bad business all around. And as you've said, before history is written by the winners. Yeah, I mean, 100%.
We say that a lot. We do say that a lot, but I can't imagine. History is written by the winners, but I cannot imagine a history that would have been written by the Germans. I mean, the reality is there's we do bad shit to each other all throughout history. People were always doing crazy shit. But had the Allies not come out on top at the end of that war, things would be a lot fucking different. I mean, I'm sure the population, there would be definitely less people living on the planet.
Well,
that's for sure.
Japan would have the West Coast. I mean, watch Man in the High Castle.
I don't think. Here's the thing about that. I think really what would have happened if, let's say, if England had fallen. If England had fallen, we would have had no place. We would have had no place to toehold. So if England had fallen, the Germans controlled all of fucking Africa, because the only people in Africa outside of the Germans was, when we're talking about national armies, was the British. So if Africa would have fallen, if England would have fallen.
So let's say that happened. Do you think there would still be Africans in Africa?
Yeah, I mean they would be using them for labor. They'd be using them for labor, but I think what would have happened is the United States would have been isolated. The United States, Canada, and we would probably be fighting in South America. We'd probably be fighting Japanese and German forces in South America, but we would be an island amongst a world. Yeah, we'd be Israel amongst the world, I think.
That so-called hand gesture was for meat gazers. When the Jews returned to the homeland after World War II, Israel was a barren desert. The Israelis irrigated, cultivated, and improved the land to support the people. The only reason the Palestinians cry about the Israelis is because they want it back to destroy again. 100% Skully, I will be with you to fly to Israel to help them out. John, do you have any good halfway house stories? I worked in a federal halfway house for 10 years before starting my holster business. I always wanted to show your videos to some of the residents to show them how to overcome the situation they were in. So I hit the halfway house. When I left, my business was bringing in $120,000 easily in accounts receivable, reoccurring orders. I knew things were fucked up. My wife stopped coming to see me. I didn't see her probably a year before I come home. At the halfway point when I was in San Diego, when they brought me down wanting me to testify against Josh, that bitch didn't come see me then. So that day I made a decision to call an ex-girlfriend. I just knew her number, and I did. And that bitch came and saw me and fucking a bunch of times when my own wife was not. When I came home, I hit the halfway house. I knew shit was fucked up, but I still, I had my business, I had my stuff. I just knew shit was fucked up with her. Well, I got served divorce papers and a restraining order 30 minutes after getting to the halfway house. Yeah. I hadn't even hit the street 30 minutes. So I've got that to deal with. I hadn't really thought about that, but people are always like, how does bad shit happen and you just keep going? I'm like, because you can't fix it by dwelling on it. All you can do is keep moving forward. That's when you're not sure what to do, always do something. I guess it kind of roots back from that. So even after being in prison for 22 months and then coming home, I was still coming home to everything I had earned and gained and built. But right then, I was never able to step back into my business. I came home thinking that eventually I was, within a few weeks, I would be working back at my shop in Oceanside. So that day, to get out of the you're only allowed to leave the halfway house to look for employment. So I went out and found a job. And then I didn't start work the next day, so I went out and kept looking for a job. So when I wasn't working, I would leave, and you just had to get business cards and applications and shit, which I really was doing. I had a cell phone, so I was immediately able to call people I'd done business with. I called a couple companies that I was buying material from and just laid it out. Gave them, hey, I'm back home. You know I've done millions of dollars of business. I need you to fucking believe in me. I need you to send me some samples. I don't have money to pay for them. And they did. They sent me boxes, not rolls and shit, but boxes, handfuls of plastic and buckles and stuff. And I was able to start going. Rented a sewing machine.
Where did you rent a sewing machine from?
Same place we had bought and rented sewing machines from in Oceanside.
I thought you owned all those.
We owned the majority of them. But when we went from having 10 sewing machines to 30 sewing machines, in a couple weeks period, after the raid really boosted us up. They busted the windows out and flashbanged the shop and all that shit. But when we got back in there and started listening to the voicemail, because I'm watching my shit, they raided me but didn't arrest me that day. So I'm back at the house thinking they're coming back to fucking raid me. My window in the room's broken, the fucking drawers in my dresser, and my fucking, they literally just vandalized the apartment. So I'm watching on CNN, it's a loop, every 45 minutes. I'm watching my raid and them fucking raiding my shit. So I'm kind of in shock, Where was I going with that?
All the sewing machines.
So it was actually that CNN shit. When we actually got and listened to the voicemail, it wasn't dudes we weren't out of business. I was concerned because we're doing law enforcement business, a lot of it. I'm thinking, fuck, here I am on CNN being raided. We're done. Nobody's doing business with us. But it actually worked backwards. Everybody was calling up going, hey, I don't know what the fuck happened. We got your back. If you're going out of business, we want to buy everything you have. So we sold everything we had. Literally overnight, within fucking 24, 48 hours, we had $63,000 in money. Boom. So we just kept taking orders and kept building shit, and we went from having 10 employees to having 30 employees. We were literally running almost 24 hours a day. We'd have a crew leave. And then a fucking another crew walk in. Like, we were fucking wrecking those machines. We were putting so much time on those machines. So every couple days, man, broken machines would roll out, fucking new machines would roll in. And that dude that was maintaining those machines and running that small shop that we were getting our machines from, I'll bet you we were fucking 80% of his business. So the biggest thing was that I would just leave. Like, I wasn't at the halfway house much. I had to go there and sleep. But once you had a job and I was in the halfway house for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, they still rent you the bed that you pay for. The beds are overbooked 10, 20, 30 times over. But I was allowed to stay at my mom's house. So then, like, once a week, they would randomly come by and check. So, like, you're able to kind of game it, you know. As long as you're not getting in trouble, you can be out looking for a job when really you're at a hotel room or, you know, fucking sushi or whatever. But there was people in the halfway house, there was a lot of people in the halfway house. But I was at the halfway house very, very little. I would go there and shower, hit the rack, sleep. You weren't supposed to have a cell phone, but I had a cell phone, which texting, like when I went to prison, there was no texting. When I came home from prison, boom, everybody was texting. So I was able to communicate, you know, in that manner. But I don't have, like, good halfway house stories. None, really. Like, I was home like a few weeks, and I was already doing better than most of the employees of the halfway house, you know, from the way it looked. Like, I didn't bang any bitches at the halfway house. Like, I don't have any good halfway house stories. First, they come from socialists. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me, is a poem by a German Lutheran pastor, Martin Niemöller, about the cowardice of German intellectuals following the Nazis' rise to power and subsequent incremental purging of their chosen targets.
It's not really, for as far as intellectuals goes, it's not really cowardice in the sense of the intellectuals.
Self-preservation.
They believed in what was going on. They just don't understand that they are going to be on the chopping block. If you look at the people, if you look at the individuals who actually started the French Revolution, they went to the guillotine. They were killed. If you look at the intellectuals in the Soviet Union that were fucking praising fucking communism, they were killed. Those are the people they have to get rid of. They have to get rid of the idealists. So they're going to go, you know, it's like AOC. I'll use her as an example. When the communists come, they're going to kill her. They're going to kill her. They are not going to allow her, even though she's going to be the pinnacle. She'll be the pivot point where we go from a capitalist society to a communist society. They'll build statues of her, but they're going to kill her. It's just the way it works.
You guys killed it again. Keep it up. What's your thoughts on Q? Didn't Q go underground and stop?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of
thought he was Trump.
I kind of thought it was. I thought it was actually. It was like a government. Yeah, it was kind of a.
Fuck, I liked what they were putting out.
Yeah,
man.
It was kind of a government thing that they were putting out.
So I heard you say something about 4chan the other day. What's the deal with? I don't know much about it, but I know you don't like him.
No, it's not that I don't like him. It's just that 4chan is a.
It was 2chan, then it's 4chan.
Yeah, 4chan is they put stuff out. 4chan's like, have you ever heard of The Onion?
Yeah.
It's like fake news reports. Yeah. It's the same thing 4chan does. So
Spherico's been doing it.
Yeah, 4chan does like for example, there's the Free Bleed movement. 4chan put out the Free Bleed movement. Stop being constricted by your tampons, free bleed. And it's a total fucking troll move that 4chan did. And women started fucking going, yeah, that's a great idea. Free bleed. We don't need to be part of the patriarch that uses tampons. We're going to free bleed. They just...
that smells lovely.
Yeah, they troll so hard that people fucking start to believe what they're saying. I can't remember what the big one was that they were talking about. Like, you know, the... God, I can't think of the name of it. anyways, but that's what 4chan does. They just put out fake news stories to see if they can get people to follow them.
Watching on vacation at Disneyland. Can't believe you guys are from California. So many fucks around here. Okay, well, I was going to say, are you in Florida or California? Clearly, you were talking about California. And just remember, all the history you guys are referencing is created by the elite that were so much against you can't believe everything you were taught in high school or watch on History Channel. Zionists funded the Nazi Party. They were playing both sides of the fence. Yeah, fucking the Nazi Party, we welcomed them into the United States. I mean, we had fucking Nazi rallies on fucking Times Square. Fucking things change. The richer you get, the more things change because you are no longer in that level of group. The more elite you become, the more wealthy you become, the more you are willing to let other shit happen to other people.
I mean, sure. Outside of a real argument, when you're talking about, the rich write the history books and blah blah. Outside of that type of argument, you have to have a real argument. You have to be like, is your argument that the death camps weren't real? That they didn't kill 5 million Jews? I mean, I'm willing to have that type of conversation. And if you want real, if you want to have a real conversation, I'm not coming from a high school history point of view. The reality is that the ovens that were at Dachau we made here in Ohio. They were made here in Ohio and shipped over to Germany.
And now, Coca-Cola did business there under the label Fanta.
Fanta. I mean, I get what you're talking about. When you're talking about the uber rich, yes. The uber rich in Germany believed, the reality was, the uber rich in Germany believed that they could play Adolf Hitler. They thought that they could play him.
They didn't expect that to happen.
They thought they could play him into doing certain things. And truth be told, a lot of them got killed because of that. But a lot of them also got rich. I mean, fuck. The Volkswagen Bug was made for Adolf Hitler. We drive thousands of them in the United States. People collect them. I mean, Mitsubishi, the fucking Mitsubishi car that you're driving around, they fucking made Zero plane. They made the Zero that bombed Pearl Harbor. So, it's, once you get, there's a certain level. See, it's a pyramid, guys. It's a pyramid. The reality is we're all down here at the bottom scratching at that first brick on the pyramid. When you're at the top of the pyramid, it's a small crowd. People are looking around at each other going, oh, that guy gets drunk at all the parties, man. That stupid motherfucker. I mean, when you think about the Kaiser, World War I's a great example. All the royalty that started World War I, they were all fucking related. The Kaiser was the cousin to the Queen of fucking England.
Yep.
They were all related. So, I mean, yes.
It's all a fucking family Christmas dispute.
Yeah, once you get to a certain point of the top of the pyramid, they all know each other. It doesn't mean that they don't fight. And it doesn't mean that some bullshit argument that they get in over fucking tea and crumpets doesn't mean that the rest of the world's not going to go into fucking total chaos and we're going to kill millions of people. That happens all the time.
They play both sides. Ultra rich guys, they bet on both teams.
Yeah, just think about the stock market. And think about the stock market. Just the stock market. You can bet long and you can bet short. You can have money invested in Coca-Cola that says that Coca-Cola is going to make it, and you can also bet that they're not going to make it. They're fucking playing the game all the time.
I'm far from racist, and I am not looking to join the Nazi Party, Skully.
Oh, this is the guy.
I have nothing against Jews as a whole. I do, however, have something Zionists who think that if you're not one of them, you're what they call a goyim, which is basically shit on the bottom of their shoe. I don't have time to hate. Just one color or creed. Fuck radical Islam. Fuck radical Jews. Fuck radical Christians. And so on. Be a good person. You give respect, you'll get it in return.
The
non-aggression principle.
I'm all for what you're saying. I didn't mean you had to go join the Nazi Party. It's just we play too much. We like I just said, we're talking about that top of the pinnacle. We play too much in the top of the pinnacle. Are there fucking Jews? Are there sects of Jews in Israel right now that are doing fucking the exact same thing that the Germans were doing? 100%. There are sects of Jews that are over there right now that are doing to Palestinians the same thing that the Germans were doing to the Jews. But as a whole, the reality is, as a whole, we need them in that part of the world more than most people think. We just fucked that. The reality is the United States just went and destabilized that entire part of the world. We just destabilized that entire part of the world, and the only thing all they're doing is they're all getting in their basements and they're plotting on how they can get back at the United States. Every fucking single one of those countries. But because they have to deal with all the shenanigans that are going on in their country, they don't have time to come over here and fuck with us. And, Israel at this current time is the tip of that spear. I mean, Jesus, the Israelis fucking went into Iran and stole 500,000 documents. I don't even know how they pulled it off, but paper documents. They got trucks and loaded up trucks and drove all the way through Iran with classified documents. It's just awesome. But anyways, yes, there are fucking people that do heinous shit. There are fucking, West Baptist, West whatever Baptist, those Christians that are at funerals yelling at people and shit.
Why doesn't somebody just kill those people?
I think it's just, you know what I think it is? I think the reality is we're lazy.
I would think so if you got some teenage kid, right? And his dad died and they're having a funeral and these assholes show up, I would think you would have a kid fucking willing to kill some of these motherfuckers, go and like their house is on fire. Why are we not hearing that shit?
Because I think
it would stop. You start fucking killing them, it would stop.
I think it's just too high profile, right? I think it's just too high profile.
But that's how every Punisher movie is made, or every
But those are all fictitious. It's not real.
But you fuck with the wrong kid, you fuck with the wrong dude, who has lost what he perceives to be everything in his life.
I was actually thinking about that. I was actually thinking about, as far as the military is concerned, right? So you take an 18-year-old, you enlist him in the military, you train him to a certain standard, this standard of violence, right? It's this standard of violence. You send him over to some place and you have them killing foreign enemies, right? Then you bring him back and you drop him into society. There's no
reconditioning.
No matter what anybody says, there's no. Yeah, they're not doing anything for guys that are getting out. They're just pushing them out into society. So you push them out.
They don't stay on base for 6 months, and
you push them out into society. I'm just amazed. I'm actually amazed that we don't have more violence.
Yeah,
more violence than we actually do.
Fucking assholes.
And I was thinking that it has to be. It has to be that idea of family.
Maybe that's why they're fucking sedating them.
Well, the idea of family, that once you get to a certain point where you have something to lose, you're less likely to go, you know what, I'm just going to go over there and stab that motherfucker in the eyeball.
Well, look how many of them have come home and the bitch has gone sideways. And there is
I know. I get it.
Why are these guys not flipping?
I don't understand.
And just going okay, I'm going to go out, but I'm going to kill some of these pieces of shit when I go.
I just don't understand the social implication, because we're putting a lot of guys on the Marine Corps trains more snipers for civilian work than any other place in the world.
Did you hear about the Navy SEAL? He said that being the SEAL was the easy part. It was growing up in the circus that was a bitch. Was he really in the circus? What do we, or is that, I don't get that. Been digging the podcast. Had to catch up on a few. Taking bits and pieces from them. Gonna try get a plan together to be more successful for all the fellas that wanting to get out from under their father's thumb. Go your own way before it gets bitter between you two. But don't sever all ties. Regret is a shitty thing. Woke up on my 17th birthday to get the news my old man passed away. We were close, but not close enough. That's a rough one, man. Great podcast, John. On podcast 64, I think you implied Jesus Christ was not a historical person. I did. You caught that. According to history, Tacitus, a Roman who hated Christians, wrote about Jesus as the founder and his follower, and Pontius Pilate and the crucifixion of Jesus. There is evidence outside of the Bible that Jesus is real. Also check out Josephus, who wrote about Jesus, and his brother James. Yes, I believe Jesus was real. There's a lot more that goes with that. There was more than one Jesus. There was more than one Christ Savior. Where are all the other parts of the Bible? I mean, there's a lot that goes with that. It was translated by a few men into what it is now. I don't know, man.
You know what's interesting about the story of Jesus Christ? When you look at the story of Jesus Christ, it's very detailed, right? You're taking in these details that about his life and all that. But there's one thing missing. There's one thing missing from the Bible that they never talk about. Jesus is born, and then Jesus is the Savior. There's no teenage Jesus. I wonder what teenage Jesus was like.
Curtis. I picture Curtis.
There's no teenage Jesus. You don't see any writings about teenage Jesus.
How about Black Jesus? Have you seen Black Jesus?
I've heard of the premise, but I have not seen the actual where he's like cruising around town smoking pot with all the
or Boondocks Jesus.
Yeah, Boondocks Jesus. But you know, the truth be told is that the sect of Judaism that Jesus belonged to.
I like the Russian icons.
I can't think of the name of the sect but there's a sect of Jews that he belonged to. They had foretold the coming of Jesus, the name Jesus.
Well, what about the Jews? What about the Jews? They don't believe fucking in Jesus. Several
times. Well, they don't. They Jews believe in Jesus. Jews do not believe that he is the Son of God.
He had no magic.
Yeah. So there were Jesuses before the Jesus that you knew, the Jesus of Nazareth that you know. There were other Jesus that came to be at the front of that sect and just never made it as far as Jesus of Nazareth. So it's an interesting story, but you know, and there are historical footnotes that talk about, like, you know, Pontius Pilate was a real dude. Like, that's a documented 100% fact. We can find invoices that he signed for toilet paper and shit. And it's just, you know, how that story was put together. Because remember, all those books did not come together at one point in time in history.
Thanks y'all for what you do. Love the podcast. Love the SOE EDC belt. We have a badass cave over here in Smithville, Tennessee, called Indian Grave Point Cave.
Ooh, Indian
and have
Grave,
a map,
I like it.
And I have a map to it, and we've been 5 or 6 times and still haven't seen it all. You can look it up on YouTube. Y'all should check it out. I've been there 10%. I've been saving 10% for 4 weeks. Got to start somewhere. Thanks for your advice. That's good, man.
Smithville, Tennessee.
And saving 10% for 4 weeks is more than you probably had. That's great, man. Done hit. Imagine if you'd saved 10% for the last 10 years, which you have. And I mean, think about 10% of everything you earn. Think about the bullshit we buy. I mean, fucking coffee, any number of things. Whatever your vices are, alcohol, fucking cigarettes, fucking vape stuff, whatever it is. Imagine, just think about the money you fucking spend if you had saved some of that. Your life would be different. Like, well, it doesn't matter. Fucking most people aren't going to do it. I'm glad that you are. Done hit the big time. SOE, PTTP is big baller status now. First time for me. 3 YouTube commercial, episode 64.
Do they have commercials?
Thanks, crew of SOE for great. Yeah, we monetize them.
Oh, do we?
We have enough traffic. Dudes want to watch it. We have it set, so
cool.
That's where we make a little bit of revenue. It's not much, but fucking something.
I'm surprised we haven't been flagged.
Some of them have.
For hate speech.
Some of them have. Skully, more than 2,400 U.S. soldiers have died in Afghanistan since 2001 and more than 20,000 others wounded, fighting America's longest war. The Taliban control more areas in Afghanistan now than any other time during the war. What the fuck?
Well, that's not really true. They don't control more than... Most of the Taliban is relegated to the mountains between Afghanistan and Pakistan. They don't control more of the property.
Soldier.
We are going to do a deal with the Taliban, and we are going to turn that country back over to them and walk away from that mess. The truth, I say that all the time. The reality of what's going on over there is, it's just like I said before, it's a magic trick. We have created a magic trick. We've put U.S. forces into the Middle East to keep the Middle East occupied on U.S. forces. That's what we're doing. We're keeping those guys occupied on U.S. forces.
So we can keep building stuff.
We keep killing the best bomb makers. We keep killing the best planners. That's why we're there. We're there to keep them occupied. So they are not flying planes into buildings here in the United States. So they are not detonating bombs here in the United States.
Are we not really there? So there's a boogeyman.
Well, I mean, that's part of it. We needed it.
Because we can't go bomb Japan right now.
Yeah, with the Soviet Union collapsing, the military-industrial machine needed a boogeyman that we would spend billions and billions of dollars on.
That the rest of the world wouldn't have a problem with us fucking up.
Yeah, with the rest of the world won't have us fucking up. But, for an enemy, it's better to keep them occupied in their homeland than giving them opportunities to plan and plot on what they're going to do here next in the United States.
Think about
when you
that.
say, I want you to think about this. You put some numbers out there, right? Since 2001, you put those numbers out there. Those numbers, they sound high, don't they? An 18 to 25-year-old is safer in Afghanistan and Iraq than he is in the United States. The United States Marine Corps loses more Marines here in CONUS, DUIs, motorcycle accidents, training accidents. We lose more Marines here in CONUS than we do in Afghanistan and Iraq. More people...
Shit, you have more people die from anaphylactic shock from fucking bee stings.
More people have died in West Virginia of drug overdoses than all the people that have been wounded and killed in Afghanistan and Iraq. Those kids that had died in West Virginia would have been better served if the military had drafted them and sent them to Afghanistan.
Shit, we have more people kill themselves.
Yeah, so,
Well, that's a terrible number.
Those are terrible numbers, but in reality, they're pretty good safety numbers. When you look at all the military forces, if you look at all the military forces that are currently transitioning between the two different conflict zones and all the fucking ammunition we're shooting and stuff like that, in that same time period, we would not have the same outcome if they were all here in the United States.
All right, let's cut this off.
Oh!
We're over an hour and a half.
God damn it.
All right,
time
guys.
flies when you're having podcast fun.
Do real shit, man. Do real shit. Fucking be better tomorrow. Help somebody. Do real shit. We got a lot of shit. We've been doing a lot of real shit. I think the posts, the live feeds show that. Just do real shit, man. And be fucking nice to somebody. Like, go home and be nice to the first person you see when you walk through the door. You're not always.
And if you really listen to these, you're gonna get you should get the idea, or maybe you don't, that I think that the fucking 2 wars that we got going on are bullshit. They should have been over in 6 months, which it could be. If the reality is. Yeah, the reality is if we wanted to end the war in fucking Afghanistan, we could end it in 6 fucking months. If we wanted to end the war in Iraq, we could end it in 6 months. But we don't have the will to win. There's the will, the political will is not there.
The guys making the money don't want it over.
Yeah, the political will is just not there to do what is necessary to win wars. So,
and what is that? What wins it?
Commitment. You have to have a stake in the pie. The reality is the only reason why we've been able to go. You know why we've been able to go 10 years? The reason why we've been able to go our 15 years. The reason why we've been able to go this long, is because the generals have forced. They have forced the military to keep the draft out of an option. If they started drafting the minute every time we sent American forces somewhere, these wars would be over a lot quicker.
Or tell them they can come home as soon as it's over.
Yeah, or as soon as it's over, you can come home. I mean,
You're not coming home until
that's
it's
the
over.
reality. And saying this, I say this. Those 2 wars are fucking bullshit. There's no reason for us to be over there. If they called me tomorrow and said, "Hey, we want you to go fucking hobble around Huseba and fucking run with the rifle," I would go tomorrow. I mean, I would.
Is there any cool shit we could go over there and buy?
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of cool shit, dude. There's still, even now, all kinds of cool shit in those. And the reality of it is, because of the fact that it's war torn, we really wouldn't have, like, I guarantee you, if we went to Baghdad and went to the right place and said, "Hey, dude, we want a mummy," they would come up with, the mummy would just show up. Or, "Hey, we want a fucking, I don't know, my M1 Abrams." The fucking tank would show up. Because they want green just like anybody else.
We just go over there and buy one, use it for a couple of days, and then come home.
So we could. All right, guys. See you later.